Hello, ladies, gentlemen, robots, and anything in between. My name is Dr. Riley. It took 11 games for a certain nefarious doctor to get together 86 unique robot masters to attempt to conquer the world, which is the same amount of subscribers I managed to gain. So if I ever want to set my plan into motion... You think it's too soon? Yeah, you're probably right. Let's just move on then. A while ago, I made a video offering you to ask some questions, which I'd like to use for this very special video. It did grab at least some attention, so I guess you do have a few things you'd like to know about me. So let's see what we've got. Dang it, Squix, you ruined the joke I wanted to go for. Oh well. On the good side, you're now the main contributor for this special, so consider your questions already answered. Music Met, get ready to transmit. What made you want to do a YouTube channel in the first place? I guess it was a bit of a student's dream. I saw someone doing something and it seemed pretty neat and maybe even somewhat popular, while I was like, I could do that better. I could do that in a different way. And especially for my first channel where I uploaded stuff, which was loads of music by the way, I had the drive to share the stuff this noisemaker here created with the world. And while the audience only seemed to grow slowly and some people got attracted that I would have preferred if they didn't, I'm happy with the stuff I do. This led to not one, but 2 more channels, and since then I've abandoned them, didn't do a good job at keeping uploads somewhat consistent, or it's the channel you're currently watching. And I am happy that there are a few people that enjoy my content. Do you have any other channels that influenced you? No, actually I don't. I took various inspirations from various different channels, which is not something specific to those channels, but the only influence I took, if you can call it that way, and might be pretty obvious when I point it out, was my channel name. I mean, you might have heard of a certain Dr. Lumen. I've seen a few Mega Man Maker tubers that do commentary and would have loved to do something like that, but I did not feel that confident in my English at the time. So I looked a bit around and Dr. Lumen's style managed to persuade me in making a Mega Man Maker channel without commentary. Of course, things have changed since then, but still. This was probably the person that kickstarted this channel here, and because of that I decided to go for a similar approach with my name, which is, well, also similar to the character from Mega Man, but it has a minor adjustment, maybe even a bit more minor than Dr. Lumen is to Dr. Light. What franchises besides Mega Man do you enjoy? Mega Man Maker, Mega Man fan games, and more Mega Man Maker. That's pretty much the only thing you have seen on my channel yet. But there are a lot of other franchises I enjoy quite a lot. Pretty high up would be the Zelda series, with my personal Cerulean Triforce being the Game Boy Color games, which I have beaten countless times. But I'm starting to appreciate the world building in the 3D games more as well. Metroid always has this intriguing atmosphere when facing gigantic areas with rarely friendly souls around there. But I can't get entirely used to the 2D control scheme, while the 3D games can make backtracking and boss fights extremely tedious. Sometimes I test my skills in anti-gravity racing games, and while it's unlikely that I get into the combo system for other fighting games, Smash Bros. Avoids it for the most part, so I can do what I like most when playing against others. Trying to be one step ahead and hopefully outplay my opponents. While I'm mostly used to the stuff I'm most familiar with, which is often Nintendo games, I have broadened my horizon in the past years. What's your favorite Mega Man game? Mega Man 3 rules and Mega Man 2 sucks lolo Roffel Mao. But it's just semantics. That's a good question. The classic Mega Man series feels rather consistent, so I'm not really sure if I could settle it easily for any of the games. But there's also another thing which might shock you. I've seen all the games, but I barely played any of them. Why? Well, let me answer it with another question. How long have you been playing Mega Man Maker, and what got you into it in the first place? Well, Mega Man itself, obviously. One day I heard about that NES Classic and decided to check out the franchise, and I was just very impressed by the fancy music which the Robot Masters have, the Fortress stages, and specifically for the Robot Master stages. They had very unique themes that just fit together, just fit the Robot Master, which other NES games just didn't really do. There wasn't much of a water stage, a fire stage, something like that. It was more something you could find in Mega Man. The bosses themselves, the Robot Masters, they feel comparable to Mega Man. It's almost like you have a lot of rival battles in each Mega Man games. Because, yeah, the Robot Masters just feel like they could have been an alternate Mega Man, just more specific themed. And they could have had their own adventure. In fact, they somewhat did in the game Mega Man Powered Up, but nowhere else really, sadly. And something that is very unique for this kind of game, I'm not really sure if it is even used somewhere else, is the progression system. That's something really cool, because it's just not like the other NES games, most of the other NES games, which have one level, you beat it, you go to the next. But it's a bit more non-linear, that you can select which Robot Master stage you want to tackle first, second, and so on. It's obviously not as open like some more open world-like games like Zelda, Metroid, which didn't really work out that well in my opinion on the NES. But yeah, they got a neat balance between linearity and having still options to choose what to do. And all of that just made me interested into the franchise. But there was just one problem. I didn't feel good at Mega Man. Yeah, I know, maybe the first game was not the right idea to start the franchise with, because it just had first game problems. The second game has probably the most famous soundtrack of the entire franchise, but obviously it also has some faults. I mean, it also depends on the player, and yeah, it was not an easy time for me. I had to use a lot of save states for the first game. I did use quite a few for the second game, and maybe the games after that would have been a better choice, but they probably wouldn't have been much easier. So yeah, I decided to wait, and I think I actually secretly hoped for something like a Mega Man Maker, because yeah, there were 6 NES games, so trying to put them together to make a game was something that should have happened sooner than later. And I don't know how I found it, but suddenly I saw videos about Mega Man Maker on YouTube and said, that's it, that's the gateway I need for this franchise. And I entered pretty early. I don't remember exactly the date, but I think there might still be some levels in the early 100,000s, which was just a few months after version 1.0 was released, back then when only 12 Robot Masters existed. Those were the times. And yeah, now I just feel much more confident in playing Mega Man games, be it official games, be it fan games, so I'd feel confident enough now to play more of those games, even on my channel, despite the fact that I didn't play most of the Mega Man games yet, but that can and that will probably change. What about the other Mega Man series? I obviously haven't checked too much out of them as well, except for the X series, but to put it mildly, I don't like them as much. The Mega Man X series, I could enjoy the SNES trilogy, but after that, I don't know, the animation, the walking cycle looks a bit odd for me somehow in the PS1 games, and opinions start to get more mixed in the games later, and I have yet to hear enough good points that won't get overshadowed by everything else that the games with a 6 or 7 in their name have to offer, for the X series specifically. Mega Man.exe, I like the combat system there, but I have no idea how technology could have advanced so much in this world when they apparently don't have an internet. No, that is not an internet. It's just an unnecessarily confusing and frustrating intermaze where I have no idea how data should be transferred effectively. Maybe I should check out Mega Man Star Force sometime, because it does look a bit different, but the combat system seems familiar. Mega Man Zero, I've only seen the first game of, and while again it probably has mostly just those first game problems that the sequels might fix, that still wasn't enough to make me more interested into the franchise, because everything is too much zoomed in. Zero is just too big for this GBA screen, and no, I don't feel comfortable doing platforming on a small screen like that. Mega Man Legends. I'm sorry for any fan of the series, but I don't like the state the humanity is in this game, making the effort of the previous games, which would be mostly the classic series and the X series, pretty much go to waste. And I especially didn't get attached to any of the characters in the series. They just seem so weird. Like the buggy looking movement of Data, the odd likeness of the Trons, especially Born-Tron, to that blue guy there, to Dumpnut, who's often sexually aroused in something that is supposed to be a kid's game. So, good job there, Capcom. Do you do level design for other game engines such as Super Mario Maker, Lunar Magic, or I Wanna Maker? Huh. What's Lunar Magic? Oh, apparently a go-to tool to make Super Mario Vertex. That's neat. Well, I don't. I did consider getting Super Mario Maker, but the issue is, especially for the Mario franchise, it just feels a bit too limited. There are not too much items you can use to make a too intriguing level design. Mega Man is just a bit more complex in that regard, and therefore was more interesting for me. But if you were to give me the game, if you maybe someone pushed me to check it out, chances are I would experiment with it for quite a while. I mean, most programs I get, I usually do a lot of stuff on day one, maybe even finishing something that is pretty nice. I mean, I have here this song I made within a Music Maker on day one, within the very first 24 hours. But yeah, problem is timed. you would have to give me some time to spare, because there's just so much stuff out there that you could do, that you could check out, you could learn, but yeah, you can't do all of it. And I'd rather try to have a somewhat consistent upload on my channel here, so I have something that at least a few people, and maybe even more than a few people later on, can enjoy than something I just make on my own, because it might be neat, but it's not necessarily something I would or should share. I mean, especially in maker games, you might not want to put up your very first creation, which is usually much more just some experimentation and might end up being something you could get quickly embarrassed about, because you could improve just a lot by finishing the stage, testing it for a while, comparing it to other stuff and see how flawed it is. Any music you found recently that you enjoy? What about movies? First, I had no idea what to say about music. I generally enjoy video game music, but there's nothing new I listened to recently. But then I remembered I don't enjoy exclusively video game music. And, well, I did rediscover the Wise Guys recently, which was a German a cappella group. You could compare them to the Comedian Harmonists, which probably inspired them. Wait, they were also German. Huh, does anyone know any famous international a cappella groups? As for movies, I'm not really a moviegoer. If I took the time, I would likely also rather scavenge through some of those older movies. Megamind was a neat movie I heard some good things about and decided to check it out. I'd like to rewatch Kung Fu Panda, which I only saw a long time ago, back then when it was released, and haven't even watched the sequels. To get even much more older, but Spencer and Terence Hill were a pretty nice duo, and the same could be said about Asterix and Obelix. What games would you like to play on your channel? Well, whatever you want to see. Oh, right. That approach didn't work last time. Okay, let's limit the suggestions then. Suggestions. Using a gun is fun, but wouldn't you like to get up close and personal once in a while? I'd like to, and it is probably just a matter of time until I go for my Laurelian Triforce of Zelda games. Starting with Link's Awakening DX. Yes, there's a remake, but I do prefer the original, which had to keep within certain limitations, while the remake sadly didn't break all of them, and feels somewhat limited for a modern game because of that. That's why I'd prefer to stick with the original game, and I'm pretty sure it would also be the case for the Oracle games, if there's gonna be a remake. Tired of boys hogging the spotlight? Then let's give the gun to Samus Aran. While I'd only want to play a few of those games, at least for now, Zero Mission, which I might not want to 100%, is a really cool remake of the very first Metroid game, and Fusion, which I might do want to 100%, is my favorite because of the dark atmosphere which is told and shown to the player. Or how about we switch between close and far-ranged attacks? Because Crosscode is one of my favorite indie games, which is coincidentally from Germany, but since it is an RPG it would take a lot of time, and even if I were to increase my video output, maybe that's not the right game to start with. Of course there would still be a lot of Mega Man and Mega Man Maker stuff around here, but I'd be interested to give some other franchises a go as well, and see how it works out. Phew, that actually took a lot more work than I anticipated. Not something I want to do very often, but that's why this is a special video. I hope it was worth the effort, and I'll see you back in a video where I just do simple gaming. Until then, bye.